What's going on, team? Proof here, and today I'm coming at you with my first deck profile, well, second technically, but the first one that I'm going to be showing from the Cardfight EX software. And I'm not going to show gameplay video from here, but I'm going to show it from some games I got off of CFA because it's quicker for me to be able to put more games together for you through CFA as opposed to playing through Vanguard EX in terms of me recording and talking at the same time. So I'm going to run through the deck profile, explain my thoughts and choices behind some of the cards, and then go into some of the gameplay footage. So hope you guys enjoy. I'm really excited for Raging Tactics to come out in the next couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to playing the physical game again because I haven't played the physical game in a while outside of some odds and end matches here and there. But that's not what you're here for. This version of the deck came about after a lot of testing and me trying to figure out exactly what I was looking for in Destructive Roar. Raging Tactics, not Destructive Roar. That was ages ago. And I know I put out my video talking about my quote-unquote base setup, and that was like the very first iteration. And after some more testing and looking into things, that base has shifted, obviously, because the way things work out, you kind of see different synergies as you do more testing, and that's where this deck came about. So I'm gonna start at the grade 3s and work my way back to the grade 0s and kind of talk about some things here and there. And I took out all the shiny cards from Vanguard EX just because I thought it'd be distracting to see the foil pattern come in and out. So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys don't mind me taking that out. So for the grade 3s, it looks different than what you might expect. I'm playing 4 Bullspike and 4 Bad End. And I know in the past I talked about General Seifried, and I still think he's a good option for the deck in terms of a grade 3 lineup. But what I was looking for through more testing was what Bad End offered, which is the ability to be a worthwhile rearguard attacker and be a pretty good vanguard attacker. And I'm assuming you guys know what all the cards do. If you don't, definitely take a look at the wiki because all these are in Japanese. I'm not going to go in and edit in the card effects after that. But for Bad End, being able to be crit pressure while being able to pass around force 1 markers was to me something that I really wanted, because I didn't want to feel like I needed, how do I say this? I didn't want to feel pressured going into force 2 if I wanted to have crit pressure, because for Bullspike, for me personally, I prefer going force 1 with it and passing around the force 1, the 10k power boost that comes with force 1. And one of the downsides to Bad End is that you may not have the rear guard pressure to make your opponent want to block the attack, so you can get the retire 1, draw 1 off of Bullspike. And Bad End kind of helps supplements that by being a crit pressure rear guard to be able to make your opponent want to guard it, or you get the added benefit of push them to 5 damage regardless, or you know what I'm saying, push them to a lot of damage regardless if they choose to or not. And that to me was something I really wanted, and that's something that General Seifried himself didn't provide because he doesn't function as a rear guard, obviously. And as a vanguard, they operate similarly. And what I mean by that is General Seifried's on hit ability makes your opponent want to use their big PG or their big guard to stop it. So by using your counter blast to buff your board, you've taken copies out of your deck for General Seifried. You've reduced your counter blast off for your opponent to use a PG on the attack. But for Bullspike, but for Bad End here, all you have to do, you can use less counter blast. You do put the card back to the deck, but by doing so, you still make your opponent use probably that same guard they would use otherwise while he's a vanguard. And then he has the added benefit of when you ride on him, call him out from soul, retire the same column for your opponent, which could be 1 rear guard, it could be 2 rear guards, it could be a dangerous rear guard that you want to get off the board. You have some flexibility there, and it combos very well with Bullspike being able to retire another unit and draw a card, because by the time that you ride Bad End into Bullspike, you probably have your opponent in a position to where they want to guard at least one of your attacks throughout the course of the sequence. So to me, they synergize very well. I know Bad End pulls cards away from Soul for Bullspike, but that's what the rest of the deck is for, to help supplement that. So for the grade 2s, the first one that pops up, we have Spike Bouncer. Now, Spike Bouncer here is a card that has come in and out of the deck lineups throughout testing, and I finally figured out his placement in the deck, and that comes from being basically Renaldo's 5 through 8, because I play 4 of them in here, as you can see. So Renaldo here is your primary grade 2 ride, and being able to put a card from your hand to the soul, check the top 2 on your grade 2 ride, and call up to 2, which is what you're going to do because you're putting in the card to get the ability. You may as well call both of the cards. Is a huge swing for us in the grade 2 phase because we have a lot of cards that can benefit from being called out. We can generate a lot of forward momentum to help us carry us throughout the game. But if you miss out on Renaldo, you can have Spike Bouncer here as a backup option for that, and it combos very well with Gyro Slinger here to be basically a 2-card Renaldo. So when Renaldo was revealed, we kind of thought like, hey, we can get rid of Bouncer, we can get rid of Gyro Slinger, because now we have this one card that does basically what these 2 cards did together. So we thought that there wasn't a need for those, and in terms of when testing it out, I definitely felt as I was testing it out, I noticed that I was lacking in some grade 2 turns sometimes because I wouldn't land Renaldo on time. So I decided to revisit Spike Bouncer with Gyro Slinger to become a build of Renaldo because if you go Spike Bouncer skill into calling Gyro Slinger off the top of your deck, or if you have Gyro Slinger in hand to call out, you basically get the cost of Renaldo, but you use Spike Bouncer into Gyro Slinger to get the additional call. So you basically have 11 cards that can function as Renaldo to be able to fill up your board on turn 2, which is what you want to do for this deck, because once you get your foot on the ground, you can ride out that momentum through Bad End and Bullspike. So the way the deck functions is to ideally go to your grade 1 ride, which is ideally offensive Punter here, because Punter is the best grade 1 ride that the deck has to offer. Way better than any other grade 1 that the deck has, because it's a 2-for-1 in a positive sense for us, because you ride it, get the draw from your Forerunner, and then on your next turn you can ride, say, Renaldo, and you can resolve the order of them in terms to be favorable for you, which is you resolve Renaldo first, and then you figure out where you want to call things, and then you call Punter in a favorable spot behind it. And this facilitates a lot of column pressure, a lot of push through power, because he can help scale with his Soul Blast 1. Soul Blast 1, he gets plus 10,000 or plus 2,000 power while boosting, and then at the end of the battle you put him to the bottom and you draw a card. This helps scale some of your columns. Like, it can make Brakki go from 28 to 30. It can make Bad End hit for perfect numbers on 13k base Vanguards or your opponent's grade 3 Vanguards. It can make Wonderboy attack for perfect numbers. It helps scale a lot of your columns up as well, which is why he becomes the best ride. And since we're playing 13 grade 1s, we can be more forthcoming with going second by going Punter into another grade 1, because regardless of what happens, we can ride grade 2 and then be able to call out Punter to the rear guard circle to be an additional attacker or booster somewhere else. So even if we be aggressive early, we don't lose out on momentum as much, because we have the ability to fall back on Punter to be an extra unit for us. And then we have Wonderboy here just for all general good purposes, being able to add soul for Bullspike, be able to put triggers back or additional Brackis back, which I did skip in the grade 2 phase. I figured we understand why Brakki is amazing. Being a 20k booster, or not booster, being a 20k attacker for free is huge power for us, and be able to recycle itself to be add soul for Bullspike and be another 20k attacker turn over turn until our opponent removes it or we're out of copies in deck is huge for us. So Brakki's not going anywhere. If you want to pick up the deck, definitely learn to love this purple bunny because it's gonna go with you throughout your entire Spike career, 100%. But back to Wonderboy, similarly working as Brakki. I put it to the soul at the beginning of the main phase, call it out. Then for Wonderboy, put a non-grade 1 card back to the deck, and it gets plus 5k. This is flexible because he could be a booster for a turn, and then if your hand is lacking in good pieces, you can make it an attacker for that turn. You can combo it up with Punter, like I mentioned a second ago, to be like a 23k attacker or higher, and scales perfectly against grade 3s. Very flexible card, which is what we want in a solid deck like this. Gyro Slinger's main functionality is to function with not Punter, but Spike Bouncer to build Renaldo, but it also is a free way for us to be able to add soul for Bullspike and to call out cards from your deck. So if it's like late in the game and your hand is a bunch of triggers and Gyro Slinger, you can put a card from your hand to the soul, check your top 3, and maybe you get yourself a worthwhile attacker. And it comes down with additional 5k power, which means when you slide over force markers to it from Bullspike, it's going to be plus 10k or 20k plus that additional 5, which might be just enough to hit over what your opponent has to offer. Especially if you land something like Bad End here. So he gets plus 5 from Gyro Slinger, plus 5 from his own skill, excuse me, and then he gets the power from the force 1 markers coming over to it. And then last but not least, in the grade 1s, we have my boy Garry Gannon, and I just couldn't let the card go. I thought 3 was a good number for Gyro Slinger to not need to play for, so I had an additional spot left to use, and I thought let's go with Garry Gannon because he's an amazing card early game, but there is a diminishing returns for him the later the game goes, because at that point he just becomes a vanilla AK booster, which is fine, but we would much rather get the benefit out of him. So in terms of early game, you can play it early, get the benefit from it, get the soul from him, get the filtering that he offers, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And since we're not playing Seifried in the deck, we don't have to worry about playing multiple copies of him because we're not afraid of losing them to damage zone or something like that, and not have the ability to search it out with General Seifried. So if you, in this deck, since we're not using Seifried, we can have more liberties with numbers here, but I play mostly 4-elves for consistency's sake because we want to hit the Brakkis, Renaldo, Spike Bouncer, those things. We definitely see certain things earlier than others, which is why we play them in 4s, but for Gannon here, I think we could play a little bit looser with it. And since I opted to go 12 grade 2s, that meant 1 less grade 1 slot to use, so I opted to go for less Gannon. And 2 has been a perfect number for it. I've seen it early enough for it to be useful. I don't top deck it too late in the game sometimes. Sometimes it might show up late, but that's variance, of course. But all in all, 2 has been a super solid number for him. And then 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, standard lineup stuff. I didn't want to go 6 draw because I felt the crit pressure was necessary, and we have enough draw filter action going on for us that I didn't think the 2 additional draw would be most beneficial for us. So very long-winded, but sorry about that. But I just wanted to explain some of the synergies that go on with the deck. And basically you want to use your cards to help facilitate soul for Bullspike. That way, if you start, you can be a little more judicious with your soul blasting, say with Punter here, or through Bad End, things like that, because Bad End comes out from soul after you ride it, which takes away from Bullspike. And so basically you have a big percentage of your deck can add the soul for Bullspike, and then you have a couple things to use Soul Blast for. Then you have a couple other synergies here and there to help keep your soul nice and healthy for Bullspike. So yeah, that'll do it for the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stick around for the videos, stick around for the replays. Hope you guys enjoy those as well. Alright, got some gameplay footage here. And going against Nubatama. So when going against Nubatama, you kind of need to watch out for Hanzo and Jamie Congo at the same time. So you need to play your hand out a certain way. But I'm going first, so my goal was to be a little more aggressive with them. And when I have both Renaldo and Spike Bouncer. I tend to lean more towards Renaldo here because I can probably roll into more power units, like get like Brakki plus something else. And is usually better when I ride into Punter, but that wasn't the case this time around. I got Gannon and Spike Bouncer or Bullspike off of it. And since I had the additional counterblast to use, I went ahead and used Spike Bouncer, the additional one in my hand. I was hoping to get another grade 1, but that wasn't the case, but I still had this as a backup option. And I have 2 soul with the plan to go into Bullspike, and this is probably going to hit, so I'd probably be more likely to use Punter in this case because I would still be able to have soul around for next turn, especially because I have Spike Bouncer in the back, which could operate as an additional draw and soul with Bullspike, which is another synergy that the deck offers. So him getting his tokens up, that's not a huge deal for me, especially because he's on his grade 2 turn and I don't have to deal with Hanzo. And if I'm going into Bullspike, Bullspike can handle one of the tokens for Hanzo if necessary. But I think for this matchup, even though, as you'll see, I did ping off a token, I think it's better to worry about the other units that are not tokens in some cases, just because they can so freely get tokens up with this guy here and Zangetsu. But since I missed on batting Dragger on time, I went ahead and rode in the Bullspike. Hopefully, because ideally with the Bullspike, you want to pass around at least 2 force markers. So you either want to go bat in Bullspike or double Bullspike if you can help it. So fortunately my opponent hit double triggers, but since I'm passing around the force 1 marker, I can still hit him and make him want to use his intercept. And since the deck isn't super heavy on counterblast because you don't have General Seifried, you're more likely to use Spike Bouncer's second ability to tuck into the soul and draw you a card. So nice little added bonus for Spike Bouncer here with the deck shaping up the way that it has. So he goes into Hanzo, and he has the 2 tokens to burn with it. I probably could have burned this guy here, just because the tokens are going to stick around anyway, since he had 3 of them. Now he uses Vanguard skill to return Bullspike, which meant that I have the ride next turn for it. It probably would have been better for him to keep Bullspike on the board, so that way I didn't get the card back, because now I'll be able to pass around 2 force markers freely, 2 force 1 markers at that. And Bullspike really does a good job of living up to his name and bullies protect markers or protect clans, because him passing around plus 20k power or more when you have 2 force markers really helps add up for their ability to guard you. Helps really grind out the games. So the reason I split the markers here is to save a card on soul. Even though I had a lot of soul, I thought it's more beneficial to try to attack with Vanguard first, especially if you have same damage as your opponent. You want to try to avoid as many awkward attacks as you can. So I can split the force markers, make my opponent consider guarding, or just have a free damage dealt to him, and then I can pass the force markers around here, save the cards in hand, and save the soul at the same time. And now I have, what, 6 soul? 4 soul. So if you're passing from rearguard circle across the board, it takes 2 soul to use, which is why I like putting the force marker on my Vanguard first, on the first ride, to attack with it first. And ideally you want to use 2 soul per turn to pass your markers around, which is the goal here. Which allows you to save soul in the future as well, because you know how much soul you need to pass things around. So with 4 cards in soul, I don't feel as pressured to use Gyro, Slinger, Renaldo, things like that to help load up the board for soul, because I have enough soul already available. So I can just freely put down 40k beaters, like here 33, this is 33 now, which is added benefit of having a +5 from Wonderboy's skill to be able to scale up with my opponent's Vanguard while passing around the force markers. So if I was under some more pressure and I was under the risk of losing soul, I might be more apt to use General Slinger here to put cards into the soul to facilitate Bullspike, but that wasn't the case here. And as you can see, having that nice grade 2 turn helped to put my opponent on the back foot and helped us put a lot of tempo on us. And like we have more tempo and more cards in our hand than our opponent playing Protect, which in olden days was never the case, because we got so much raw advantage out of Bullspike here. He's drawn us at like 4 additional cards over the course of the game, just because Protect matchups go longer, which we would tend to lose these games in the past because General Seifried was the way General Seifried had to play to beat Protect gifts usually would mean we had to use up a lot of our hand and our resources to be able to do that, which was tougher to do. Here, it may have been better to go Vanguard first, but I think I was in such a dominating position that I didn't mind either outcome here. And I'm still using 2 soul per turn to be able to get as much benefit, as much max benefit as I can. And I'm pretty sure I missed Bullspike triggers. I tend to do it more on CFA as I'm trying to like hone in on it. I'm sure once I start playing the actual cards in my hand, I'll be I'll be able to pick it up better. But you can argue against Jamie Congo, you may not want to do it. You can make the card a filter because you're still going to discard down to 4 anyway, so you can see how it plays out. I'm still not too certain about how I would approach Bullspike with Jamie Congo on the board, but Gyro Slinger does a nice job of playing around that because we ditch a card out of our hand, and with Bullspike we can get exactly up to 4. But we're still in such a commanding position because of the way things played out up to now, that we're more freely able to do what we've been doing this whole game, which is just sliding the force marker back and forth across the board. I call it dead pass. People have their own names for it. I personally call it dead pass, to pass a force marker back and forth, which as you saw from this game, kind of how all the soul synergies kind of come together in different ways to help make sure Bullspike has healthy soul to pass the rock, pass that around. So that'll do it for this game. I'll be right back. I'm gonna load for the next game. We'll keep it moving. I wanted to find a game here where I went second, just to show you guys how you can one way you can play the game when going second. So I have a beautiful hand here. I got the trio. I call it the Trinity, which is Punter, Renaldo, Brakki. And I didn't get an additional grade 1. If I did get an additional grade 1, I probably would have called it out of here. Granted, my opponent hit 2 triggers to block it out. But in my opinion, if I ride Punter, I feel much more secure calling out the additional grade 1 regardless of what it is, because they attack into it, I lose it, but then I still get the Punter from Soul from the Forerunner skill back anyway. So ride Punter here and go into Renaldo, and you can stack up the triggers to be able to resolve Renaldo first. And as I mentioned before in the video, in the deck profile, call out the order that you need it to call out, and then you can call Punter where he needs to go. If that made any sense at all. Based on how you call out your cards from the top deck, you can position your Punter favorably. This is the better way to say it. So I went after this just to prevent the free force marker, because I tried to at least try to slow down them getting a 5 as soon as possible, which is something you want to think about with Genesis. I don't know why I have set headphones on. I have no music playing. But against Genesis, you want to try to look out for giving them 5 on first ride. Even though the one girl, she does it on boost, which is something that they want to eliminate from talking to people. And now for here, I did have the option to go Bullspike. And if I had an additional damage, I probably would have rode into Bullspike with Bad End as a kicker. But since they didn't give me the damage, I figured lost power there for a second. Hopefully things are still recording okay. Seems good. But I felt secure going into bad end over Bullspike because now I can ride into Bullspike and start passing around 2 force markers. And I have bad end here to help nuke his rearguard column pretty freely as well. So block these to help eliminate as much Valkyrian shenanigans as possible. I'll probably put this on Vanguard. Yep, and then I call out bad end to this back row column because he still nukes the opponent's column here. And then I can Wonderboy for optimal setups, probably over, yep, put it over here. And now I can attack with this side first, and then go Vanguard, and then put something back with bad end. Something I didn't mention in the deck profile, and an added benefit to bad end Dragger is to help keep churning out Wonderboys and Brakkis because they can return back spare copies. And since they shuffle the deck up, you can probably get them back into your hand if you don't have them on the board to keep getting the use out of them, which is a neat little trick that I picked up over playing it over time. So here I was just explaining what bad end did, or in conjunction with Bullspike, because he knew that 2 crit. So if he doesn't hit, then I draw a card, of course, because I didn't miss the triggers this time around. But as you can see, like, I think I went from about 5 cards in hand up to 9, or 4 cards in hand up to 9, because Twin Drive, Bullspike hitting, and Punter hit, or Punter skill added 4 cards in my hand. So I went from 5 to 9, which is a huge burst of draw. And with the synergies in place with Renaldo, you can get your whole field back the following turn if you need it to. So very neat, like, great the way the synergies work out together. And if they don't remove bad end here, he can potentially pressure with his crit skill as well. And since they tend to let Bullspike hit because he doesn't do anything on his own, it'll push my opponent to 4, which means that if I do hit a critical trigger on those particular swings, I can pass the crit to one of my other rear guards, so that way bad end and the other rear guard are pushing for 2 damage as well. I did let this go because it saved me cards in hand for Valkyrian, and because I had a backup one, and I had a third one anyway. So here I had the option of either going, I decided to go this way because I didn't feel pressured to use Bullspike or Renaldo. I had 3 soul. I presented the ability to activate the skill if I needed it to. And it's kind of what I talked about just a second ago. I gave the critical to Brakki because my opponent's going to 4. And they did hit the trigger there, but this helps eliminate 5th damage triggers. And then retire that guy. But putting Gannon back here with Bullspike adds another synergy, because if he does hit, I'd use Gannon, add the soul, draw. If I don't hit, I retire one of my opponent's units and draw a card anyway. So another added benefit for Gannon there is kind of put your opponent in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, because Gannon hits, additional Bullspike trigger, and I get to filter my hand out to be something to kind of help shape it up a little bit more. If I do hit, or if I don't hit, I can't remember. If I do hit, Gannon does his thing. If I don't hit, Bullspike does his thing. I pop one of my opponent's units. They have to commit an additional card for their following turn, and I can still get the draw as well. So both of these things my opponent doesn't want, but even though that does work out really well, I still opted for 2 Gannon because I thought the other cards facilitated better, because Slinger is immediate, Renaldo's immediate, Spike Bouncer can activate with his 1 counter blast without having to need to hit or anything. So in terms of sheer immediacy of what I want to do, Gannon is the slowest of them all, even though he does have good upside. So that's why I opted for 2 anyway after all that. But I just kind of want to show 2 quick games there. I do have a series against Franz, him playing God Hand. If you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments below. But this video's been long enough as it is, and I just kind of want to give you guys a taste of what it is. But the deck, even though I do opt for Force 1, can play Force 2 in some cases, and that's kind of what the games against Franz would showcase if you guys want to see those. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see them. I can record them. They did come from CFA as well, because obviously God Hand isn't in Vanguard EX, which is a-okay. But let me know if you guys want to see it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the deck profile. I kind of want to do, I do definitely want to do more of these for the different spike archetypes that can be coming out from on the standard side of things. So let me know what you guys want to see. Let me guys know what you thought about this format and this presentation. And yeah, this was fun. So I'll see you guys next time, and until the next one, peace, be easy.